The river just got a whole lot bigger. Hello and welcome back, and I was taking a look around event results in the 5.0 deck dumps, and I saw that my beloved Mississippi River actually put up a win, and I knew I had to bring it back to the channel. While I was looking at the list, I did notice something a little different about it, and saw that it was an 80 card Yorion deck, so I'm like, okay, I gotta see what the new spice is in this. I won't go super deep into what the deck does. You've seen it on the channel. It is a Cascade combo deck looking to basically just shit your entire deck onto the board and kill your opponent with a massive board state. And I will say it is nice to see that my little tech from one of my previous videos of Noise Marine has now made it mainstream as far as this deck is concerned. So, not saying I was a visionary, but it's kind of nice to see that I was vindicated in making that assumption here. What really tipped me off to this deck, though, was the fact that it's now got Mind's Desire as another win con and a way to ensure that you are going to play your entire deck on the turn that you go off. Because if you start fizzling out, if you hit a Mind's Desire, by the time you hit it, your Storm is going to be huge, and you're just going to flip most, if not all, of your deck into exile, and then be able to play all of those cards for free. I also noticed that they now have Emergent Ultimatum as well as a way to go find the specific spells that you want to cast as you go through your chain to make sure that you're always going to hit your massive multi-cascaders, your Mind's Desire to flip most of your deck, or your Noise Marine to be able to finish the opponent off. It is notable, though, that in this version, there is no Emrakul like in some of the previous ones, so you have to win the turn you go off, and you don't get that extra turn to be able to attack. However, there is some mitigation in that in the form of Maelstrom Wanderer, which is in the original list, giving all of your creatures haste so you can swing in the turn that you go off, and just being able to kill your opponent with direct damage via Noise Marine like I was doing in the previous deck. With this being an 80 card deck, this land pile is absolutely insane. 40 lands, most of them are various forms of the depletion and sack dual lands to be able to get your colors and pop off as early as turn 2. But other than that, the rest of the deck is pretty much standard Mississippi River. The sideboard, unfortunately, you do have Leyline of the Void. It is something you can cascade into that will fizzle your combo, but with how graveyard-centric the format is at the moment, it's kind of a necessary evil. Chancellor of the Annex is mostly just to be able to slow down turn 1 combo decks if you have it in your opening hand. However, if you can't cascade into it, it will tax all of those spell-based decks, like the blue control decks, the combo decks, just to slow them down to give you another turn to try to go off again. Some Bloodbraid Elves to have more Cascaders and to have some quick bodies to get on the battlefield to be able to try to take down Planeswalkers that your opponent controls. So like if your opponent drops a Teferi, that just straight up shuts down your deck, but you can play a Bloodbraid Elf, attack the Teferi down, and then try to go off again later. Inevitable Betrayal to be able to steal creatures from opponents' Showen style and Reanimator style decks. And then everybody's favorite Sky Noodle, Yorion as a companion. It doesn't really do anything in this deck. It's just there because it's an 80 card Yorion deck. There are some worlds where you can cast it and you can like blink your Noise Marine to be able to reuse its ETB, or you cascade into it at some point and get that effect, but mostly it's just here just because we're an 80 card deck, and it does have a little bit of a mental factor of being able to juke your opponent into thinking you're on like Yorion taxes or the 4 color value Yorion piles. But this is the newest take on Mississippi River. Let's take it through a league, see how it does. I'm glad to see this deck is coming back into the spotlight. If you like this video and you like my content, please do me a favor, drop a like and a sub below. Leave a comment, let me know what you like, let me know what you think of this deck, and I'll catch you all in the wrap-up. Alright, as usual, let's see how many times I forget to reveal Yorion as my companion this league. To start out here, this isn't bad. I was about to say we have a turn 2 Violent Outburst, but we actually don't because this doesn't make red mana when you sacrifice it for 2. Our deck is about half mana, so there's a very good chance that we will get the mana that we need. But it is awkward that we have 3 Apex Devastators in hand. I think we want to mulligan this. Okay, we definitely can keep this. We're going to put the Tybalt's Trickery back, but we've got 2 different 5 mana Cascaders and a whole bunch of dual lands. So we'll keep this, put Tybalt's Trickery back. Our opponent mulled to 5, so I'm a little worried that this is already going to be Oops All spells. Alright, do we get turn 1? Urza's Saga. Okay. Lotus Petal. So this could be some sort of storm variant. I'm actually tempted to start off on the Hickory Woodlot here so we can Beseiju if we need to. Because it still lets us go off on turn 3. If we start with the Woodlot, it allows us to hold up Beseiju. We'll play Sandstone Needle next turn. However, we need another untapped land. If we don't need to Beseiju something on 2, we can play Beseiju on turn 3 and go off. There is the risk where we might have wanted to play the Sandstone Needle first in case they are on, like, Black Saga Storm and they wheel us, and then we don't have a red source, but so much of our deck is red sources, I don't think that particularly matters. The chances of us wheeling into another one are pretty high, but just seeing a Saga off of such a deep mulligan and a Lotus Petal, Planar Nexus, that's interesting. I'm not sure what our opponent's doing over there. I guess this could be, like, Karn Forge combo, just on a really weird lead. Well, we'll play Sandstone Needle and pass. We have Beseiju open if we absolutely need it. And then we just wait until turn 4 or draw an untapped land to go off on turn 3. But we will see what our opponent does here. I'm hoping we don't have to use this Beseiju and we can just go off next turn. I'm not sure if there's any blue deck that would have this setup here. Like, there's blue Tron, but I don't think they play Lotus Petals, if I remember correctly. And if we get the chance, we'll start off with Creative Technique. And notably, our opponent is tapping this for mana instead of blowing their Lotus Petal to make a dude off of it. Hopefully whatever they tutor gives us a better idea of what's going on over there. I'm going to be scared if it's a Lion's Eye Diamond. That's really the only thing I'm super scared of them getting off of Urza Saga here. Because we don't care about Graveyard Hate. They can get some more mana. Like, the only reason I'm scared of a Lion's Eye Diamond is because it means it could wheel and screw up our hand. Just grabbed another Lotus Petal. Okay. Okay, so it definitely is a Karn Forge style deck. 7 mana. Just a big Kozilek's Command? Yes, Kozilek's Command for 5. That's totally fine. We don't really care about that. However, it is notable that our sideboard really doesn't have much for being able to deal with this deck. I mean, like, we could bring in Chancellors, or we could bring in Bloodbraid Elves to try to go lower, but, like, Inevitable Betrayal is kind of whatever. They might have an Emrakul we could steal with it, and they do have the ability to go off faster than us if they mulligan for a fast hand. But luckily, we don't really care about their Planeswalkers, which is nice. Because, like, they can go and get Karn if they find off of this. I don't really care about that. The One Ring would be a little bit annoying if they find that. 4 top, 1 bottom. Got it. The One Ring. Okay. So they have the One Ring. We can still go off. Okay. So we're still probably going to just pop off here unless we hit a Violent Outburst. Then we'll do it on their turn. Because we can make an overwhelming board presence that they just have to find a way to deal with. And with only 4 cards, I mean, granted, they'll have 6, but the chances of them being able to get out of it will be kind of slim to none. We could also just play it safe and wait a turn. I'm really just debating what the best option here is. Because it's notable that this version of the deck doesn't have an Emrakul at the top end to really go off. Because we drew another Beseiju, I'm kind of tempted to wait a turn here. And we could always Beseiju away their Planar Nexus to try to keep them off of some amount of mana. We could Beseiju away the Urza's Tower. Like, I'm just really wondering how badly this goes, considering what they top decked. I think we are going to wait a turn. I think we're going to play the Dwarven Ruins. We're going to wait a turn and Beseiju something if we absolutely have to. Like, because we can't instantly kill them right here is the only reason why. And there is a world where we could pop off and then our opponent just manages to pop off on their turn when there was a spot that we could have interacted. We could Beseiju here to try to cut them off of some mana. But they've got the One Ring. Yeah, I'd rather try to hit like a Mystic Forge, or if they try to Karn Forge lock us, we can float mana and then Beseiju. Tap in the One Ring, draw some cards. So they got 6 cards, 5 mana on board. They could go up to 8 mana. And they do go up to 8 mana. Tezzeret Cruel Captain. Okay, so they can draw 3 more cards. I'm not super scared of that yet. It also does limit some of their mana since they already made their land drop. We shouldn't have to worry about much in terms of disruption. Like, even a Chalice or something doesn't really matter. Like I said, the worst case scenario would be another the One Ring. But they've got a Fleshraker, 2 mana, and 6 cards. And they don't have a engine here. Okay, Grim Monolith, that's fine. They don't have a card advantage engine, so they can go as crazy as they want with this for right now. Like, if they drop a Mystic Forge, that is when... God damn it, another the One Ring. Okay. But now we could go off and we at least have targets to be able to point our Noise Marines at. And I think we are just going to go ahead and blow up the... okay, so they kept the other one. I think we are going to blow up their Planar Nexus here. Just try to restrict some of their mana. 0 basics. Okay. So we have targets for our Noise Marines to hit now, so we are just going to go ahead and go. The question is what land do we want to play here? It doesn't really matter. I think we're going to go ahead and play the Geothermal Crevice. And we don't need to pop the Dwarven Ruins yet. And here we go, I guess? The question just becomes do we want to demonstrate this? I think we want to. I mean, there's a world where we spin them into something devastating for us, but I don't super care. Okay, there is a Karn. They can go find another the One Ring. Unless we just kill the Karn, which we might if we hit enough Noise Marines. Like, we should be able to hit enough stuff to be able to go crazy here. Hit a Volcanic Torrent. This will be a way to wipe up the board. We hit a Violent Outburst, that's fine. Cascade this. This will hit a Tybalt's Trickery, which we will point at the Violent Outburst. Into a Maelstrom Wanderer, so... their entire board is mostly dead here, and then we just have to survive whatever happens after this. Into another Tybalt's Trickery, into an Apex Devastator. The stacks that this deck creates are just fucking insane. I am not going to demonstrate this anymore. Into another Apex Devastator. Into a Noise Marine. Into a Throes of Chaos. Into a Violent Outburst. I wish there was a spell in this Cascade loop that somehow was able to make it so that damage couldn't be prevented. Into a Throes of Chaos. Into another Violent Outburst. I think we're out of Tybalt's Trickeries now. Yes, we are out of Tybalt's Trickeries. Noise Marine hits the battlefield. We can't target the opponent, so let's blow up... I mean, all of their stuff is going to die because of this Volcanic Outburst anyways. Blow up the Karn. And we hit a Mind's Desire. Do I actually want to cast this at the moment? I don't think there's anything in our deck that we can hit off of this that I actually care about. Yeah, there's not really anything that we want to hit off of this anyway, so we're not going to cast the Mind's Desire. I think we're probably just going to let the stack clear here. Or do we want to... No, we have enough creatures on the battlefield, I think, that this will be fine. Call forth the Tempest. This will also give us some stuff to be able to cascade into later. We will let the Maelstrom Wanderer hit the board. Wipe out our opponent's board. We still have another creative technique. I think we are actually going to cast this one, as this is going to clear a bunch of lands out of our deck that we don't really want. I'd like to get another Apex Devastator on the board if we can. Let's make this a little bit bigger here. They are severely hampered on mana because they don't have a way to untap their Grim Monolith now. And we hit a bunch of board wipes off of stuff. Let's cast... We'll cast the creative techniques first. We will not demonstrate. I just want to hit some more Apex Devastators. We do not want to cast that. That's fine. Cast creative technique. We are not going to demonstrate it. Okay, we hit another Apex Devastator. We're not going to cast anything off of this. I think we're good keeping Noise Marine in the deck for now. We don't want to call forth the Tempest. No Violent Outburst. And then we could Emergent Ultimatum here. I think we will, because it's just use it or lose it. And we will just hit our other Apex Devastator at this point, just to get another creature on the battlefield. Oh, right, they just shuffled it into our deck. Okay. That's fine. And just to be safe, I mean, I'll attack just for the hell of it. I don't think there's any of these things that say, like, damage can't be prevented. Yeah, there's not. Okay. So our opponent has 2 mana, but a bunch of draws to try to piece this together. They'll have 8 cards to try to piece this together somehow. Okay, Voltaic Key. They can either get more draws or untap the Grim Monolith to get some more mana. Alright, they want the mana. Okay. They have 6 mana here. That's not enough for a Karn into an Ensnaring Bridge. This is enough for another fucking The One Ring, though. Ugh, another The One Ring. Okay, so I think we want to blow up the Voltaic Key then. This is their 3rd The One Ring, which is annoying as hell, but... So I think we are going to go ahead and just blow up the Voltaic Key on our turn. We hit another Boseiju. That's interesting. So we'll play Gemstone Caverns. We will pop this for green. Blow up the Voltaic Key. Just so that they can't get multiple untaps. They have 5 mana. We'll pass the turn. They will have 12 cards to try to piece this together. It is notable they keep choosing to keep the One Ring with counters on it. So they are losing life to that, and they've only got the One Ring left, but they're halfway through their deck. They found 3 of them already. Another Manifold Key, okay. And then another Urza's Workshop. Untapping the One Ring to draw some more cards. This is 8 mana, so this is enough to be able to get a Karn and an Ensnaring Bridge now. And unfortunately, I think most of our stuff that we can hit is now gone off of this Noise Marine. Glaring Fleshraker with 5 mana left. Another Manifold Key, okay. I mean, I think at this point we're just going to F6 through the turn. There's nothing we can do here. They can get some more draws off of the One Ring. But they're starting to get limited on mana unless they can find a bunch of okay, there's some more mana for them. They want mana, okay. This is 6, 7, 8 mana still. 13 cards in hand. They have another untap of the One Ring. If they want that. Okay, they want mana. Kozilek's Command for 6. Are they just going to chain Kozilek's Commands and kill me? These One Rings are the only reason they're in this game right now. The fact that they were able to chain 3 of them is just insane. Alright, I don't even see 3 top, 3 bottom. Mox Opal. Are they able to burn out the last 7 points of life here? A Kozilek's Command does do it. Mystic Forge, there's a very good chance that does it as well. Hopefully there's just a bunch of lands on the top of their deck. Another Fleshraker. So, any 2 spells does it? And they've got 4 mana to do it? Yeah, I think we just died here. Them chaining the One Rings is what did us in. Actually, we're just dead here because each one of these makes 1 and each does 2. Yeah, okay. They literally needed to chain 3 the One Rings to be able to survive this game, so it is what it is. Now, the question becomes is there anything we even want to bring in here? Like, there's something to be said about maybe we bring in the Bloodbraid Elves and take out the Throes of Chaos just so we can get some damage on the board a little bit faster. We could also think about bringing in Chancellorly Annex to limit their first turn, but I think we just want to try this. Alright, let's see if we can pick up these 2 sideboarded games. Reveal Yorion. This is unkeepable. 1 land, no red mana. Gotta ship this. This is a turn 2. We'll keep this and we'll put the Tybalt's Trickery back in the deck. And we will start off with a Mossfire Valley. We're not doing anything on 1 anyways. Opponent kept on 7, which is a little scary. They could have a scary turn 1. Planar Nexus into a Pithing Needle. Okay. I'm not sure what they name with Pithing Needle, but okay, that is a legal one. Oh, they named Boseiju. Okay. That makes sense. Alright, we're going to go turn 2, and in Tybalt's Trickery, we trust. Violent Outburst, Cascade into a Tybalt's Trickery, and hope we hit something good. And we fizzled. we hit the fail rate, which is hitting another Tybalt's Trickery, and now we have absolutely nothing going on for multiple turns. Because we can't do anything until we hit 8 mana. Into a Glaring Fleshraker. Okay, well, we did get to see the fizzle rate of the deck, and that is something to keep in mind if you ever want to play this deck. Shit like that does happen. And is this a The One Ring? It is a The One Ring. Okay. Well, at least we have quite a bit of mana. It all really just depends on what they're able to find off of this One Ring, and if we find another Cascader, we can actually cast. Opponent passes the turn. We hit Astidia Traders. We will just play... And we'll just play another Bossfire Village. It really just comes down to what we draw next turn, and then like what our opponent does here, but we're probably out of this, because to be able to cast this, we're still looking at 3 more turns. Because we have 6 mana next turn, then we would have 8 mana the following turn. They have virtually infinite mana here, so we're just going to have 6 through the turn. Like, it happens. This deck does fizzle occasionally. Manifold Key, so they can get even more card draw. Basically, we need them to not hit another The One Ring, and for us to find a Cascader that we can cast for 6 or less mana. But they've got 6 mana, or 6 cards in hand, and virtually unlimited mana. And opponent plays a Disruptor Flute. I'm curious what they name with this. Probably Tybalt's Trickery? Yes, name Tybalt's Trickery, okay. Expedition Map, okay. Ugin, Eye of the Storms. Okay. Yeah, this one... We hit our fizzle rate when we could go off turn 2, and I mean, like I said, it happens. So I think this one is lost unless we can hit a 6 mana Cascader, or we hit a, whatchamacallit here, Creative Technique. Okay, our opponent apparently is just blessed with chaining the One Rings. So if we get the right set of Cascades here, we hit a Bloodbraid Elf, that doesn't matter. Yeah, we're dead. Well, we'll just keep it up there. So I was going to say, if we hit the right chain of Cascades, we could wipe the board, but they're still going to have so much mana and so much card draw, they're just going to be able to get back into it anyways. But, okay, on to the next one. Alright, won the die roll. Reveal Yorion. So we've got a Throes of Chaos. I got a bunch of our good shit in hand. I think we got a mulligan this, unfortunately. Okay, this is a turn 2. But we have 2 Tybalt's Trickeries and 2 Noise Marines in hand. We're going to put one of the Tybalt's Trickeries back, but we have the turn 2 to try to just go for it. So we're going to do that. We're also hoping that our opponent does not Wasteland or Hickory Woodlot on turn 1, because this doesn't actually produce mana on its own. Alright, opponent kept on 7. We're keeping on 6. Put a Tybalt's Trickery back into the deck. And play a Hickory Woodlot and pass the turn. I will say, it's kind of interesting seeing some of these, like, older cards. The fact that the H isn't capital, but the W is kind of weird. Just a weird kink on some of the older cards I've noticed. Alright, Marsh Flats. Are we going to get Thoughtseized? Yes. Okay. At least they're not attacking our mana here, and we have multiple Cascaders. We could also just draw another Violent Outburst. Kind of just hoping for mana at this point. And we drew another Tybalt's Trickery, so I mean, if they try to do anything too crazy here, we can always just Tybalt's Trickery whatever they do. Plateau, so this looks like Mardu Energy, probably? Voice of Victory, okay, I don't really care about that. Another Soul Land to be able to cast this Noise Marine would be great. Like I said, unfortunately having 2 Tybalt's Trickeries in hand is not great for us. Soul Land? Taiga, okay. So we need 1 more land, and we can kind of go off. Or at least attempt to. Another Plateau for the opponent. Goblin Bombardment. Okay. We kind of just want an untapped mana source. We'll take 3. We'll take another 2 off of them throwing these tokens. So we'll take 5 total. Yep, chucking the tokens. So we take 5 total. Any untapped mana source gets us there. Show me an untapped mana source? We could also try to get really fancy. Well, no, I guess not. I was going to say, we could cast Tybalt's Trickery, our own Tybalt's Trickery, but the first one needs a target. We had a Volcanic Torment. Unfortunately, that is also 5 mana, so we can't do anything, so we just got to pass the turn. I honestly would have preferred just a tapped mana source at that point. Shadowy Backstreet from the opponent, okay. We're still at the point where we either want a 4 mana or less Cascader, or we want an untapped mana source. We're going to take another 5 this turn. I'm curious what's in their hand that they're not playing. Unless it's just like a bunch of removal. Like, it's very possible. It's like a bunch of static prisons and Swords to Plowshares and stuff. Alright, untapped mana source. Come on. City of Traders. That is an untapped mana source. And we will cast a Noise Marine. And here we go. Playing an Orcish Bowmasters. Okay. A Throes of Chaos. Okay. Maybe I should have played Volcanic Torment to be able to wipe the board, but, like, I guess that doesn't super matter here. We hit a Violent Outburst. Okay. There's one Tybalt's Trickery left in the deck, so we need this to hit, like, one of our big Cascaders. Another Noise Marine. I mean, that's going to cascade a few things, and we can kill 2 of their creatures. We might as well get these out of the deck now. Well, actually, maybe I want to hold on to them for this Volcanic Torment. I don't know, this is just such a weird spot. I wish I had one more mana so that I could cast one of these Tybalt's Trickeries from hand. I think we're going to leave this in the deck here, so that we have the ability to cast a Tybalt's Trickery targeting something else if we draw one. And this is 8 damage. Maybe I should have kept going, actually, now that I think about it. Well, we will point 1 at face, and we will point 1 at the Voice of Victory. This might be incorrect, but this sets us up to be able to Noise Marine next turn and hopefully cascade into enough random shit. Alright, they're just going to kill the Noise Marine. Okay, that's fine. And, okay, they're going to Swords to Plowshares the other one. That's fine. They do just have a bunch of removal in hand. But that puts us back up to 12. Arid Mesa from the opponent. Another Voice of Victory. Okay, that's fine. Another untapped mana, and we can do the trick where we Tybalt's Trickery our own thing. Gemstone Caverns. That actually works. We will tap this in response. We will make some mana. That is 4 mana. This is 5 mana, or 6 mana. We will cast a Noise Marine. Make sure I do this right, so I leave up 2 mana. So we will Noise Marine Cascade into a Violent Outburst, which we will then Tybalt's Trickery our own Violent Outburst to hit a Creative Technique, which we will demonstrate. I don't think there's anything we can wheel them into here that'll kill us. It's an Amped Raptor, which wheels them into nothing. We will cast a Volcanic Torment, just for the sake of increasing our storm count here. Because our hope is we can hit enough spells that this Noise Marine, when it hits the battlefield, is lethal. This will also wipe their board out. Revealed our entire deck, because there's no more Tybalt's Trickeries left. This will wipe out their board. They have a chance to chuck everything at our face for 3 more damage here. They don't even bother. Okay. Hit a big Cascader? Okay, I will take a Mind's Desire. Alright, hopefully we don't just reveal all fucking lands here, but I have had that happen to me before. Another Volcanic Torment. That doesn't really do anything, since I can't cast it at instant speed. Okay, we hit an Apex Devastator and an Emergent Ultimatum. I think we're good here. Noise Marine hits the battlefield. Deal 8 to the opponent. We will cast the Emergent Ultimatum. We will grab a Apex Devastator, a Noise Marine, and another Mind, and our opponent scoops it up. Okay, that is what we want to see here. I am very much expecting whatchamacallits out of our opponent here, which are Deafening Silence. Is there anything we want to bring in here, is the question. Again, we could bring in Chancellor to try to hold them off for a turn, but I don't think it actually does anything. Inevitable Trail, no. We could do Bloodbraid Elf just to have more bodies on the battlefield, but I think we just want to run it back. Show off the Snakebird. Okay, so we've got a Boseiju. We have some good cards in hand. I think we're going to go ahead and keep this. I would like to hit some more lands. Silent Clearing. Into a turn 1 Thoughtseize again. Okay, so it's not a... whatchamacallit here. A, Deafening Silence. Yep. Had a feeling they'd take the Violent Outburst. That's fine. Our deck is about half lands, but we need to draw them. Arid Mesa for the opponent. Into a Scrubland. Into a Guide of Souls. into an Ocelot Pride. So they're going for the go wide energy route here. We basically just need to hit lands. Land? Tybalt's Trickery. That is not what we want to see. I should probably play out this Boseiju, but I'm kind of just holding on to it just in case they actually find a Deafening Silence. Cabal Therapy. Okay, well they can take 2 cards from our hand here, but we've got 3 of the 5 mana Cascaders. They chose Noise Marine, that's fine. And then they could sack a cat to take the Volcanic Torrent or the Creative Technique. Like, they know our hand, we'll just F6 through the turn. They have 2 cards left in hand, so if we can just go runner, land. Oh, they have another Cabal Therapy, so they can basically just strip our whole hand here. Oh, they took the Tybalt's Trickery, interesting. Tybalt's Trickery doesn't do a ton in our hand. Okay, there's an Ancient Tomb, so we'll play that. Pass the turn. Hope we draw another soul land to just go off, unless they feel like sacrificing some cats to be able to strip this other shit out of our hand. Elegant Parlor for the opponent. Bend a Guide of Souls, really? Interesting choice. Shadowy Backstreet. Bidding a Silent Clearing, okay. Tap some mana, then untapped it. Cracking Silent Clearing to draw a card, okay. The longer they stay off of the City's Blessing, the better. Okay, there's a Guide of Souls. So this still isn't the City's Blessing yet. Another untapped soul land and we're good. Unless they feel like flashing back these 2 Cabal Therapies to take this other shit out of our hand. They can get in for 6 here. Yep, putting the energy on the Ocelot Pride, kind of to be expected. Do they feel like sacrificing 2 cats to strip these last 2 cards out of our hand is the question. Well, looks like they're trying to. Name the Volcanic Torrent with that one. Are they going to grab the Creative Technique while they're at it is the question. The nice part is if they just decide to do all of this, like, it does get them further away from the City's Blessing, and it looks like that is what they're doing here. So, like, we've still got Throes of Chaos and Violent Outburst as valid draws here to be able to just go off. And that's a Creative Technique. Well, we will play this, pass the turn, and hope we either hit one of our lower Cascaders or we hit a untapped land to be able to go off here. Voice of Victory, okay. Alright, this just comes down to what's the top of the deck. Like, we're dead on the next turn, and I believe this is the City's Blessing. So we either need an untapped mana source or one of our lower Cascaders, and we can win. Just comes down to what is the top of the deck. A Creative Technique does not do it. Okay. Little unfortunate, but it's what it is. We'll just try to win game 3 on the draw. And honestly, I think we just run it back. Reveal the Sky Noodle. Yeah, I guess we'll keep this. We have a turn 2 Violent Outburst, or a turn 3 Noise Marine, depending on if they Thought Seize us. And the hope is that they just don't have a Deafening Silence. Okay, they're just going to restart the game. That's fine. That's better than a Deafening Silence. The nice part is we have another land. We have a Gemstone Caverns as well, so play another one. See if they have yet another Wasteland. They do. Okay. A little annoying, but they're not progressing their board state at all. And our deck has a ton of mana, so I'm not super scared of any of this shit yet. Ancient Tomb. I think we will play the Mossfire Valley. It's what we have redundant of. So if they somehow have a third Wasteland, it's not the end of the world. Okay, they have Plains. Into a Guide of Souls. Okay, that is totally fine. And then I guess we see what happens here. We will Ancient Tomb. And we will hope that we don't hit the fizzle rate of our deck yet again. Okay, into a Noise Marine. I like that. We can Cascade this. Into another Tybalt's Trickery. That's a little disappointing. Into a Throes of Chaos. Into Tybalt's Trickery number 3. Please do not low roll. Okay. Volcanic Torrent isn't terrible. Into a Violent Outburst. There's one Tybalt's Trickery left. Oh no, we lost our last Tybalt's Trickery. That's unfortunate. Okay. So we pseudo-fizzled. That is very unfortunate. I did not realize we milled a Tybalt's Trickery in one of those. And now we just got to find a Creative Technique, apparently. We hit a Throes of Chaos. We will play another Mossfire Valley. Pass the turn. Or we just get up to the point where we can just cast this Apex Devastator. They are missing land drops, though, so that is very much helping our situation here. Because we got 4 mana now, we got 5 mana next turn. Okay, I mean, we're just going to keep making land drops until we hopefully have enough mana to cast this Apex Devastator, or we hit another higher Cascader or a Creative Technique. Like, we always could just cast this Noise Marine for the sake of casting it, just to kill the Ocelot Pride. Guide of Souls, okay. We might cast the Noise Marine just to try to kill some stuff here, and to put a body on the board. Hickory Woodlaw, I think we are going to go ahead and cast this Noise Marine, just for the sake of killing some stuff. We can cast the Throes of Chaos, just get this shit out of our deck at this point. Into a Violent Outburst. And then the question becomes is, do we want to kill the Ocelot Pride, or do we want to kill the Guide of Souls? I think we want to kill the Guide of Souls here, because this can stonewall the Ocelot Pride for now. And this is 4, 6, 8 mana? Okay, just gonna Source to Plowshares the Noise Marine, that's fine. That gives me some life. They're still missing land drops. If we hit an untapped Soul Land, we can Apex Devastator. Otherwise, we have it in 2 turns. That is a Beseju. Well, 1 more turn, and we can cast this Apex Devastator, because this is 4, 6, 8, 9, 10. Shadowy Backstreet, okay. The worst thing we could have seen here was probably going to be a Wasteland, or a Deafening Silence. Getting in for 4. That's fine, but we have the mana to be able to play an Apex Devastator, and then I think we're good from there. Alright, we untap. Another Soul Land. So let's math this out here. This is 4, 6, 7. This is 9, 10 mana. Cast Apex Devastator. And, okay, we hit a Mind's Desire super early. Mind's Desire Storm is 2. Hit a land. Okay, we hit an Immersion Ultimatum. I like that. We can play the Violent Outburst. Increase our Storm count. Because I think we're winning through Noise Marine here, probably. Volcanic Torment will wipe their board. Into a Throes of Chaos. Into another Violent Outburst. Oh, nope, we're all out of Violent Outburst. Okay. Wipe the board. Into a Creative Technique. We are not going to demonstrate it, just in case they have... Into another Creative Technique. I was going to say, just in case they do have Deafening Silence in their deck, I am not going to demonstrate these at all. Into an Emergent Ultimatum. We will find Apex Devastator, Noise Marine, Mind's Desire. Alright, they give us Apex Devastator and Mind's Desire. We will cast the Apex Devastator. We will cast Mind's Desire. Another Volcanic Torment. Go ahead and cast that. Don't cascade anything off of that. Into another Mind's Desire. We will cast that. Call forth the Tempest. There's our Noise Marine, so we can make sure that we cast that last. Whole bunch of lands in there, which is kind of to be expected. We will look at... Okay, Maelstrom Wanderer is in there as well, so we can go get Haste. Cast another... Or cast a Call Forth the Tempest. Always yield to this. We hit another Mind's Desire. Like I said, we will go look to see what's in our exile pile once all of this resolves. We do need to make sure that we don't mill ourselves out, just in case by some weird chance they happen to have a, whatchamacallit, Source of Plowshares to be... Okay, literally all that's left in our deck is lands. Okay, so the stack is going to clear. We actually are going to draw our entire deck here. So we have to win with Noise Marine. Do we have 10 more spells to cast is the question. Alright, what do we have here? Cast Emergent Ultimatum. Cast Call Forth the Tempest. Cast a Volcanic Torment. Cast Emergent Ultimatum. Cast Call Forth the Tempest. Cast Apex Devastator. We're going to be just short of being able to kill them. So if they have a... If they actually have a, whatchamacallit here, a Source of Plowshares, I'm going to be so mad. I don't know if... Okay, no, they scooped up. I was going to say, I don't know if they would have kept their removal in. Well, I guess they did. We did see a Sword Splashers, but they didn't have another one. Okay, managed to pick that up against Mardu Energy. Alright, on to the next round. Won the die roll. Sky Noodle. This is a turn 4 go for it. I guess we're going to keep this. We're going to go ahead and play the Hickory Woodlot first. If they have a Wasteland, I'd rather that get Wasteland than our Dwarven Ruins, because red mana is more important. Misty Rainforest from the opponent. Okay. Into a Tropical Island, into a Delighted Halfling, so this is probably Nadu mid-range. Into a Sandstone Needle. I think we're going to play that. And pass the turn. Force from the opponent. Okay, Teferi is annoying as fuck. I'm not going to lie. So we need to find a way to kill the Teferi. Call forth the Tempest. This is each creature. We need a... Fuck, even a Torment doesn't do it. I literally don't think we can beat Teferi. I'm trying to think if we actually have a way out of this. We actually don't, so I'm going to scoop it up. Because all of our stuff that hits Planeswalkers relies on the number of spells we've cast. So we're going to take out Throes of Chaos, bring Bloodbraid Elf in, so that at least we can have a body that can attack Teferi. Yeah, unfortunately, Teferi kind of just stone cold shuts this entire deck down. We have a turn 3 creative technique. Is that good enough? We're going to try, and hope that they just don't have a turn 2 Teferi again. Opponent kept on 6. Here's hoping it's not another turn 2 Teferi. We will have 6 through the turn. Okay, Lush Portico, so they can't have a turn 2 Teferi. We'll play another Geothermal Crag. Pass the turn. Delighted Halfling, okay. So the nice part is we have creative technique, so we can demonstrate it and get through a single piece of counter magic. The problem becomes is if we wheel them into one, or they just happen to have multiple. And there's a good chance that they have 8 forces total right now. The other problem is if we demonstrate them into a Teferi. A Nadu. Okay. Do you have 2 forces, opponents? They have a Force of Negation, pitching a Brainstorm. Do you have a second force? Alright, double force. And they had a Teferi. At least that's out of hand. Do you have a Nomad and Core? Do you have a Shuko? Something like that? Green Sun Zenith for 2. Into a Gaddock Teeg? Yeah, we're scooping there. Good hit. This deck is just like hard built to counter what we're trying to do, but alright, on to the next one. Back half of the league. Let's see how this goes. As Ritual, Sky Noodle. Okay, this is a turn 3 or a turn 2 if we hit a untapped dual land. Or sorry, untapped soul land. Land that produces 2 mana. We're going to go ahead and keep this. This also allows us to try to fire it again multiple times. Scalding Tarn from the opponent. That's fine. We are going to lead off on the Sandstone Needle. We have a redundant one. If this is like a Delver variant and they wasteland it, so be it. Underground Sewers. Okay, so this looks like it's probably Dimir Reanimator. I was kind of hoping all the Reanimator maves were going to be at Eternal Weekend. They kept it on top. Underground Sea. Baleful Strix. Okay, so this is going to be Dimir Tempo. Luckily, Throes of Chaos has Retrace, so we can try to go for it multiple turns in a row if they have a counter spell. We hit an Apex Devastator. Let's play another Sandstone Needle, pass the turn. And even if they thought seize it, we can just retrace it. We have plenty of lands to be able to chuck to it. Polluted Delta from the opponent and cracks it. Grabs an island. Okay. Okay, they're going to Kaito. Okay. So the nice part about the tempo, like these Dimir tempo decks, is I don't think they normally play days. They tend to be more force-oriented. We can also play an untapped land to be able to play around days here. Opponent's going to Surveil. Put 2 on top. Okay. I'm sure our first attempt is going to get Force of Willed. But again, the nice part is Throes of Chaos has Retrace, so we can try to go again. Okay, looks like they don't have counter magic in hand. We are going to go ahead and demonstrate this, just to be safe. Spun our opponent into a Cling to Dust, so they can take our Throes of Chaos. They're taking the Call Forth the Tempest. Okay. Not what I would have gone for, but I suppose that is legal. And we hit a Volcanic Torment. Okay. This will wipe up Kaido. Hit another Tybalt's Trickery, which unfortunately is going after the Volcanic Torment. Into another Throes of Chaos. into a Violent Outburst. There are 2 Tybalt's Trickeries left in the deck. Tybalt's Trickery targeting the Throes of Torment, or Throes of Chaos. Okay, into a Mind's Desire. I like that a lot. But we have seen, like, our deck is half land, so there's a good chance that the vast majority of this is just going to be lands. But no, we're actually hitting good spells off of that. Volcanic Torment is good. Emergent Ultimatum is good. Hit an Apex Devastator. Hit a Noise Marine. Hit another Creative Technique. Okay. I'm pretty sure this is locked up here. Into a Noise Marine. Into a Violent Outburst, which this should hit our last Tybalt's Trickery. Okay, we're all out of Tybalt's Trickeries. I thought I only hit 3. Maybe I hit 4. And opponent scoops it up. Okay, cool. Took down Dimir Tempo in game 1. In game 2, I think we want the Bloodbraid Elves in. Problem is like, I really don't feel like there's much we can take out here, because we still want the Throes of Chaos, since it's able to be repeated through a, whatchamacallit, counterspell? Honestly, I'm half thinking maybe just bring cards in. Like, I don't know what we would even want to take out. We could take out some number of lands here. Like, I don't think we have to worry about enchantments from our opponent, so there's probably an argument to say just take the Besejus out. Go down lands a little bit here. We want to keep the Gemstone Caverns in since we're going to be on the draw. And then maybe next game, if we go to a next game, take out the Gemstone Caverns, put the Besejus back in. Just decrease our land count a little bit here and just bring in bodies and more Cascaders. And, I mean, let's try that. Reveal the Sky Noodle. And it should be noted that, like, Sky Noodle does literally nothing in this deck. We're just running it because we're an 80-card deck. Like, we have no... I mean, I guess it technically can blink the Noise Marine to get another ETB off of it, but... Either way, I like this hand. We're going to go ahead and keep it. We will reveal the Gemstone Caverns. And I think we're going to pitch the Geothermal Bog to it. Island from the opponent into a Tamiyo. So is this going to be a game that's going to be 100% dominated by Tamiyo is the question. We have a Mind's Desire. I think we're going to go ahead and play a Sandstone Needle, pass a turn. I'm sure they have Wastelands, but we have another red source if we need it. Tamiyo gets in. After our opponent plays a Polluted Delta, gets a clue. And they're flipping the Tamiyo right away. We have a way to at least keep it in check if they don't have a counterspell for the Bloodbraid Elf. I would like some more Cascaders, but we have a shitload of mana to be able to play the ones that we hit. And we did increase our total number of Cascaders in the deck. So is this going to be a game where Tamiyo basically just solos is the question. We hit a Maelstrom Wanderer. I do not like that. Well, we have to play Mossfire Bridge. Why is it saying I only have to pay 1 here? Oh, pay 1. Oh, hold on. Tap this for mana. Make mana off of this. There we go. Just weird Moto interface there, apparently. I would like to hit something other than Tybalt's Trickery off of this to start, because I don't really want to counter the Bloodbraid Elf if I can help it. Well, we did hit a Tybalt's Trickery. A counterspell here does stop this, but we still have a bunch of Cascaders left in the deck. Because they can counter the Tybalt's Trickery itself, or they can counter the Bloodbraid Elf, and then the Tybalt's Trickery fizzles. We hit a Mind's Desire, which is only a Mind's Desire for 3, which is a little disappointing. We did bin a Throes of Chaos, though, which is nice. Because that allows us to try to go again next turn. We didn't mill any Tybalt's Trickery, so there's still 3 in the deck. They could stifle this, consign to memory it. Okay, they're going to consign to memory this, so we only get a Mind's Desire for 1. But we hit a Throes of Chaos, so I guess we're going to cascade this and try to hit another Tybalt's Trickery. Now there's 2 left in the deck, but there's 2 Throes of Chaos in the graveyard. Alright, they do have a Force of Will here, pitching a Brainstorm. Okay. So there's 2 left. If they have Surgical, they can stop us from retracing it. Otherwise, we just retrace it next turn, and we kind of just go about our business. They are down to 3 cards. They theoretically have 4. Okay, they're grabbing the Mind's Desire back. Or not the Mind's Desire, the Consign to Memory. Well, we'll play another Sandstone Needle. We know this is going to happen regardless. So we're just going to go ahead and make them do it. And they have to counter the Cascade trigger, which is fine. Like I said, we have another one. and that doesn't get another Tables Trickery out of the deck, which I'm okay with. They can have up to 4 cards in hand. They did have to downtick their Tamiyo, which was nice. So they have 4 cards in hand. There is a possibility the opponent has Snapcaster Mage, and they can downtick Tamiyo again if they need to. There's black mana. So 3 cards in hand. Like, if I could just keep drawing lands to keep retracing Throes of Chaos and running them out of shit to do. Okay, they're going to cling one of those to go back up to 3 cards in hand. Thundertrap Trainer. Okay, I guess we'll see what they get off of this. A Ponder. Okay. Casting the Ponder. I'd like to see a shuffle off of this. Did not shuffle, so I'm guessing that means they found a force or something. Like I said, if we could just keep hitting lands, I'm actually okay with that. Or we can creative technique here, which honestly is probably the better option here. And then this plays around a Daze. This plays around a single piece of counter magic. They can't stifle this Demonstrate trigger now. And we just hope we don't spin them into more counter magic. Okay, Thoughtseize is fine. I don't really care about that. And at least one of these is guaranteed to resolve here. Because they could have Force plus Daze, but they can't have double Force. They took the Maelstrom Wanderer. That's also fine. Okay, into a Violent Outburst, which will hit another one of our Tables Trickeries. There's 1 Trickery left in the deck. We can pay for a Daze. This has to be forced, and then we get another creative technique. And as long as, if this resolves, we don't hit another Tables Trickery on the mill. Flame of Anor pitching, or forcing Ace to pitching Flame of Anor, going after the Tables Trickery. Okay. There's 1 Tables Trickery left in the deck, and we hit a Call Forth the Tempest. That is good, because this is multiple Cascade now. And they're actually Grixis Wizards. And we hit a Noise Marine. Alright, this is going to hit our last Tables Trickery. And our opponent scoops up to that. Okay, taking down Grixis Wizards and going to the final round playing for the positive record. Alright, on to the final round. Final round, lost the die roll, playing for the positive record here. Reveal the Sky Noodle. We can work our way up to this Volcanic Torment, and we can actually turn 3 it. I think we're going to keep this. I'd like a faster hand here, but I don't hate this. We can always emergency Tables Trickery if we need to. Alright, opponent kept on 6. Ancient Tomb from the opponents. Okay. So what flavor of Stompy is our opponent playing? I will play a Sandstone Needle and pass. And hope that turn 3 is going to be fast enough. We can hold up a Tables Trickery next turn. Alright, Urza's Saga. 3 mana. Okay, so we're up against probably Karn Forge combo again. We hit a Boseiju. That doesn't actually do anything here. We are going to play Dwarven Ruins tapped, I think. I don't think we're going to have to worry about counter magic here. This holds up Tables Trickery if they try to do something too crazy here. But if they just try to go on the Saga route, I'm actually super okay with that. Urza's Workshop. Like, worst thing here would be the One Ring. Okay, a Karn. I don't care about a Karn with only 1 mana. Opponent's like, you're playing Yorion Mississippi River? I'm just like, maybe. Alright, opponent chose Disruptor Flute. Our opponent's giving us some nice banner. They're like, yeah, Sandstone Needle and Cat's kind of out of the bag. I'm like, yeah, I know. Alright, opponent gets in with the Glaring Fleshraker. And we are just going to have to hope that our Volcanic Torment hits some good shit here. And we don't have to pop the Dwarven Ruins to be able to go off here. And I'm hoping I hit... Okay, I was going to say, I hope I hit something other than Tables Trickery first. And we're doing a little mini Mind's Desire, apparently. Hopefully we hit some good shit off of this. Okay, Throes of Chaos lets us go again. Throes of Chaos in 2 lands. We can play Throes of Chaos. This will probably hit us another Tables Trickery. Well, Violent Outburst first. And we will Tables Trickery the Throes of Chaos into a creative technique. Okay, that's what we want to see. We will demonstrate. Opponent hits a Kozilek's command that they can cast for free just to make a dude and draw a card if they want to. Alright, they are casting it just for the sake of drawing a card and making a dude. And they are playing a Disruptor Flu off of the mana that they got. I'm assuming they're going to name Creative Technique here. Yes, they did name Creative Technique. And we hit an Apex Devastator. So I'm feeling pretty good about where we are. Into another Volcanic Torrent. I believe we have one Tybalt's Trickery left in the deck. And we are just going to cast everything so that these Apex Devastators have a better shot of being able to hit something relevant. So this is the last Tybalt's Trickery in the deck. And we hit an Emergent Ultimatum off of that one. And we'll choose Apex Devastator, Noise Marine, and a Mind's Desire. They gave us Noise Marine and Apex Devastator. We will cast Noise Marine. We will cast Apex Devastator. And this should probably just be lethal here once this Noise Marine resolves. And it is. Opponent scoops it up. Okay, up against Karn Forge yet again. Is there anything else we want to bring in? I think we might want to do the same thing we did last time. Bring in the Bloodbraid Elves. However, now it's a little trickier what we want to take out. We're going to be on the draw, so we want to keep the Gemstone Caverns in. But we also want to keep the Besejus in, because they are an artifact deck. Maybe we take out the Geothermal Crags, because they're probably the worst of our dual lands here. It's either the Geothermal Crags or the Hickory Woodlots. But I like having the repeatable mana off of Hickory Woodlot to be able to hit Beseju if we need to. Let's try this, and if we go to a game 3, we'll adjust our sideboard if we need to. Reveal the Sky Noodle. This would be great if we had more lands, but I think we need to ship it. We cannot trust this. So this is a... I don't think we can keep this either. I was about to say this is turn 3 Noise Marine, but it's not. I think we gotta go a little deeper here. We need some green mana to be able to Violent Outburst. I don't want to go to 4, but I think we have to. Okay, we will keep this. Put back Tybalt's Trickery, Mind's Desire, Noise Marine, and trust in a turn 3 Bloodbraid Elf. Ancient Tomb from the opponent, into a Grim Monolith, into a Glaring Fleshraker right off of the bat. Okay. Okay, Gemstone Caverns. That doesn't really change the equation here. So we'll play a Hickory Woodlot, pass the turn. We're still a turn 3 deck regardless. Mishra's Research Desk. Okay. So they're a slightly different build of Karn Forge than our round 1 opponent was. They exile 2 cards off of this. A Karn and a Tezzeret, neither of which they can cast this turn. We'll pass the turn, take 2 from the Fleshraker. City of Traders, that doesn't change anything. We'll play another Hickory Woodlot, and we will hope that we can go off next turn and that they don't have a Disruptor Flu. Urza's Tower. Okay, so they got a bunch of mana now. Karn, the Great Creator. Alright. So they could get an Ensnaring Bridge. They could get a Liquid Metal Coating to shut off a land next turn. We will see what they grab here. Disruptor Flutes. Okay. So they're casting Flutes. What are they going to name? Creative Technique? Yes, they named Creative Technique. So we're hoping we hit something different off of this Bloodbraid Elf. Another Mossfire Village. And we're going to hope that we hit a very high Cascader off of our Tybalt's Trickery. Okay, Violent Outburst. That gets another low Cascader out of the deck. Again, we need a very high Cascader off of this Tybalt's Trickery. Apex Devastator, that's what I'm looking for here. That's the type of thing I want to see. Well, we unfortunately cannot cast this Creative Technique. Into a Noise Marine, that's fine. And then, ooh. I think we're going to Tybalt's Trickery the Apex Devastator, actually. Okay, into an Emergent Ultimatum. I like that. We will grab Apex Devastator, call forth the Tempest, and our opponent scooped it up before I could even finish my pile. Okay, managed to finish out with a positive record with Yorion River. All right, I got some thoughts, and we'll address that in the wrap-up. Play any of the decks you see on this channel with a Mana Traders rental subscription. With a variety of tiers to fit any budget, Mana Traders lets you play whatever you want in whatever format you want. Use code DasSourKraut at checkout and become a better player today. So that was a ton of fun. You know I love this style of deck. I love Mississippi River. I love the stacks and the board states that this deck creates. And it still feels as powerful as it ever did. I don't think this version is any better than any of the older 60 card versions I've had, but I do like Mind's Desire. I think it is a really cool way to ensure that you can keep going and reduce the fizzle rate. I like Emergent Ultimatum for the same reason. However, we did see that by playing the Tybalt's Trickery version of this, there is a fizzle rate where if you Tybalt's Trickery into another Tybalt's Trickery, it just fizzles the chain and you gotta try to go again later. I really do like that Noise Marine is getting adopted into this deck. It was kind of a long shot that I took the last time I played this. I'm glad to see that other people agree that it's a great way to finish the deck off. But overall, it doesn't really feel any different than any other version of Mississippi River that I've played. And I do feel like a lot of it is matchup dependent. If your opponent is playing stuff like Teferis and Gaddock like we saw, it really just shuts this deck down. But if your opponent's not really playing anything super interactive, like a lot of the Stompy style decks that are running around, or some of the combo decks if they get a slower start, it can just completely overrun them, and you can just go so much bigger than these other decks in the format. So, do I recommend it? Yeah, if you want to have fun, it'd be a great FNM style deck. Not to throw shade at the results that this deck got recently, but I think it probably has something to do with a little bit of luck and some good running. I think over a much longer tournament, the deck is going to be inconsistent and isn't going to consistently be seen at the top of any given event, but it can certainly spike an event if your running goes well, or if you just happen to get lucky with what your opponents are on and not fizzling out when you go for the combo. Being a Yorion deck, as I said in the deck tech, Yorion doesn't really do anything in the deck. I don't think you really gain anything by going to an 80 card version versus being a 60 card version, but it didn't really hamper the deck at all either, so I can't say it's a bad idea, but I don't think it's a benefit over just going for one of the older 60 card versions of the deck. But anyways, we got to take this through a league. That was an absolute blast to play. I love this style of deck. I love this deck specifically, as I said, for just the crazy stacks and board states that it presents once it really starts going. So that is 80 card Yorion River in Legacy. I hope you all had as much fun watching as I did playing. I will catch you all in the next video. And as always, stay salty. Thank you for watching the video. I hope you like what you saw. If you did, do me a favor, hit that like and sub button below. They are free ways to support the channel. And drop a comment, let me know what you like. Any kind of feedback you got, your opinions on my gameplay, the decks that I play, any of that kind of stuff. If you really like what you see, go ahead and drop by the Patreon. Become a patron, get to read some of my tournament reports and some stuff going on outside of just Magic in my life that I'm going to start putting over there as kind of my own personal blog. Also, you can do donation deck lists over there, just the price of a league if you have a specific deck you want to see, or you have an idea you want me to brew around, something like that, go ahead and do that. Nothing is required. It's always appreciated, though. Any donations go directly back into the channel, covering stuff such as leagues for donation decks or the rental program that I'm a part of. I am a small-time YouTuber. I'm doing this for fun. I really hope you all like what you saw. I truly appreciate you all stopping by. I will catch you all in the next video, and as always, stay salty.